everybody, this is Christine with Coco Daisy, and we are continuing on with our design breakdown series. If you saw my first one, I talked a little bit about the whole idea of why I wanted to start doing this and helping people understand what makes a good layout, what design tips and tricks are used to draw your eye and why you're attracted to certain designs. And we're going to continue on with that, and here is another episode where I share a layout with you and we go over all of those kind of hidden gems in that layout as to what makes it appeal to you and the things that you can do in your layouts to just kind of bring them up to that next level. For this episode, I wanted to talk about the design of a traveler's notebook spread. So I'm using our Simple Dory, and this was part of the My Escape collection. This was the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit. I thought it would be fun. The first episode we talked about design on a 12 by 12 page, and I thought it would be fun to do one in a traveler's notebook. So we're going to start with the same formula. We're going to start the same way. And actually, if you're wondering, just as a little side note, I have mine in I thought it would be fun to start doing this is putting them in these clear binders. So that's what you see there. I had an old one. It's a little beat up, but I had an old one. I wanted to try it out, and I think it looks cute. So I may add. I could probably fit another one in here too. So anyway, all right. So we start with the photograph as always, and the first thing that we always ask when we look at our photograph is what does it tell us, or what do the elements in the photograph say? So we look at that and we see travel, I see adventure, I see fun because there's a big smile, makes me think family. It looks hot, it's tropical, so you have hot sunshine or sun, water, nature with the starfish there and the ocean. There's a soft feel to it. If you look at the way the waves are in the picture, there's kind of a soft feel to that. There's also a circle or star shape that I'm gathering from this part right here. So that's kind of an element. And then texture, again, with the texture with when you look at the water, there's that to it. The colors, I see there's the red from the starfish, and then there's blues, and then kind of the neutral skin tones, and then from the sand as well. So there's not a lot of color in that, but there are some colors that we can build off of. So what is the focal point of the photo? Well, there's almost two focal points in this photograph. There's Zach's face, because he's got that big, beautiful smile, so your eye is drawn to that. But then you have that bright orange coral red of the starfish, and your eye is drawn to that as well. So we have our focal point. We have kind of what the story is of the photograph, so we can build off of that as far as embellishments and other elements. And then what is the movement of the photo? Well, there's kind of two different ways to look at this photo as far as movement. There's movement in the water. There's the ripples of that. But then there's also kind of this curve going on between him and the starfish. Your eye kind of goes this way. Your eye kind of follows it. You kind of see him, and then you kind of go in a curve there. So that is what we're going to build off of to do that. Now, the other thing is, I have puppies coming in here, I'm sorry. So one of the things that with a traveler's notebook that is a little bit of a challenge, the challenge is that there's a very definite start and stop. It is a definite 2 pages. So to try and create movement and cohesiveness is a little bit of a challenge when you do traveler's notebook pages, as opposed to like a 12 by 12 where it's one big canvas. So you have to look at it as 2 parts, but make sure that they work together. So we're going to talk about how we do that on here. So what I did is as always, I started with my photograph, and I wanted to kind of go along with that movement. But I wanted to bring your eye into his face and kind of frame everything. So I did that with the layers of the pattern paper. I pulled the colors from the photograph in the pattern papers, and then I layered them. And if you look at, it's a subtle thing, But if you look at where these papers start and stop, they frame certain parts of the photograph. So the top layer brings you right down into his eyes. And that is a big thing. If you have a photograph of people or your pets, if you can bring the focus to their eyes, because that's naturally what someone is drawn to when they look at a photograph, is the person's eyes. So you want to capitalize on that to grab the viewer. So you've got a line here and here, and they're bringing you right into his face, into his eyes. And then it's also framing the entire photograph on here as well. So you have that with the pattern papers. And then the circle shape. I didn't have star shapes. You could have easily have done star shapes, but I wanted to do some circles on here to kind of mimic the circle of the starfish, or the kind of the shape of the starfish. And to capitalize on that circle shape, I had a piece of chipboard, I had some glitter dots, and then I had another little die cut. So I placed those on, but what I did is I tucked them in the layers, but I also created that movement. Again, I followed that line or the movement of the photograph like we talked about before. So I've got some glitter dots that start up here. They go around, it brings you to the pattern paper. The pattern paper brings you down to his eye, and then you hit these right here, and you've got kind of a fun quote. And again, they're mimicking the colors, they're pulling the colors as well. And then they go almost around. So you have this path that you follow with the glitter dots and the other circle elements. And then and then I added this underneath with a little caption. So then you stop, your eye stops. So you kind of see that whole bit. But well, what's the story behind that? How do I bring that over onto the other page and make it cohesive? Well, what I did is I took a piece of this vellum paper, and there's a couple reasons why I liked this vellum. The vellum softened what was on this page. I wanted to use this with it because it does go with it, but it's a little bold, and I wasn't 100% sure if it would detract from the photograph. So I liked that it makes it a little more subtle. And I like that the vellum actually makes me think of the water, the way that it has kind of this soft feel to it. It kind of looks like you're looking through water. So it mimics that. And that's one of those subtle things that most people, when they look at it, they would never think that that's why they like it, but that's why it works. Then the other thing is I used a little geotag on the top, and then I did my journaling on the bottom. But if you notice the placement of that, it's above and below the photograph. There's a title in between, but these two elements that stick out the most kind of frame the photograph. So it brings it over when you look at it. And then if you turn that over, then you see the strong title. And then I put another geotag on the back. But it's supposed to be like that. You can turn the page and it's just kind of a fun little bit on the back there. But again, so then that kind of frames that, and it brings your eye kind of over because it's parallel. So that's how I've made the 2 pages of the spread work together as one, because there is a very definite line when you work with a traveler's notebook. But I feel like we've followed the flow of the picture, we've captured the colors, we've captured the theme because of the travel and the family, and we've told the story. So that is the breakdown of, or kind of the deconstruction, as I put it, the design breakdown for this layout. And I hope you're enjoying these. If you have any questions about the designs, about anything that you want to ask as far as that I didn't hit on, or you have questions about a particular layout that you're working on that you want a little help with, please put it down below and I'd be happy to answer you.